Hello YouTube! I am Torstein from Cinema Terror, and yet again I've searched long and hard for another forgotten 80s horror film. And the one I've decided on is an obscure werewolf film from 1988 that was shot in Colorado. The film is called Lone Wolf, and here is my review of it. Lone Wolf is set in Fairview, Colorado, where we get familiar with the local... kids? We meet Eddie, an up-and-coming rock musician with a troubling past. Joel, the local super nerd who is played by Kevin Hart. Wait, what? Kevin Hart sure looked different before he hit it big. And there are other characters, but I can't remember the names of any of them. There is a blonde chick, a rumored slutty rock chick, a weird comic relief chick, and some other dudes. The local community starts to get terrorized by attacks that the officials say come from wild dogs. The students, however, believe that something else is going on, and when some of them spot a big, hairy creature at night, they start to mistrust the police and goes on to investigate if there might be a werewolf running around, killing them off one by one at nighttime. So, in Lone Wolf, we basically got a whodunit mystery with a group of weirdos trying to stay alive from the gruesome attacks of the werewolf. That's not a bad premise, and it does sound like something that might have enough cheese in it to be entertaining. And it actually starts out pretty well with us getting introduced to this rock band with such fantastic and creative songs as Let It Rock,
Let it rock, let it rock.
and Rocky All Night Long.
And when we're here, yeah, we wanna rock you all night long.
Getting introduced to our main characters are funny, as they are obviously older than what they are playing, and the weird interactions between them are so silly that it makes my so bad it's good heart start to share a bit. The best part of all of this is that all these students, including the rockers, only seem to have one class at school, which is a computer class where they study the art of programming for some reason. The idea that these guys are creating functional software as student work is laughable, in a good way, and I'm not sure why there was put so much emphasis on the whole computer class thing. Yeah, some of the characters will break into the school and hack the police database later on, without any consequence when they get caught, mind you. But all the computer talk still felt out of place, and it doesn't seem like all the characters are all that fond of their computer work either.
DOS. Disk Operating System.
Don't get smart with me.
Well, that's what they teach you. It's all bullshit.
That's it!
I guess Microsoft had its haters even back in 1988. While you would assume that Eddie, the leading vocalist of the rock band, would turn out to be the main character, as he surely gets the most screen time at the beginning, it actually floats a bit from person to person as the movie goes on, and that's not a strength of the film, as it ends up with us as viewers not getting that invested in any of them. You need to have at least one character that we can get emotionally attached to, so the urgency and fright can translate into you from the screen. None of these stand out in any type of way as a good lead, and it doesn't help them that their acting skills aren't that great either. But to be fair, the majority of them didn't have much experience before Lone Wolf.
Come on, damn it.
Another problem, and perhaps my biggest one with the film, is the running time. A film like this should be quick and sweet to avoid becoming boring, and going on for 97 minutes is a big task on a low-budget movie like this. I must admit that I started to lose interest halfway through the film. There is not enough movie for this to last nearly 100 minutes, and I wish the film would have been 10 or 15 minutes shorter. It does end in a big silly way when a group of main characters, still about 5 or so people at this point, need to find a hiding place from the cops, and they decide that the school would be the best place, even if there is a big winter costume ball going on and it is surrounded by the police. There was probably not a single building in this little town with as many people in it as the school at this point. Logical decisions aside, it does give a good location opportunity for the Lone Wolf to cause some damage. Speaking of the werewolf, I thought they did a good job when it came to the look of it. They even go above and beyond what could be expected by including a transformation scene. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it did work well for the film, and I did appreciate it. And while this isn't a gore fest, I thought the gore effect was also handled nicely. Lone Wolf is the directorial debut by John Callas, but while this is his first film in the director's chair, he has some experience as he has done different types of work on movies such as The Hills Have Eyes 2, The Happy Hooker Goes Hollywood, and even Raging Bull. He would not direct a full-length movie again until 2015 with No Solicitors, starring Eric Roberts and Felissa Rose, who you might remember as Angela from Sleepaway Camp. Lone Wolf tries to be a fun, rocking little horror film, but due to lack of either talent, experience, budget, or a combination of those, Lone Wolf ends up not succeeding. There is some obvious heart behind this, making the entire thing feel like it was made by people that grew up in a small town like this that had a huge desire to make a film within the genre. I don't believe Lone Wolf will be worth the time for most horror fans, but for those of you who have a never-ending lust for weird, obscure films from the decade, then it might be decent enough to check out. Lone Wolf is not a good film, in fact it's a bit poor, but as a fan of these low-budget 80s films, I'm still happy that I have seen it. I wish I could have given this more praise, but I'm sorry to say that I cannot honestly give this a better score than 2 out of 5. If you decide to give Lone Wolf a go though, then just be warned that it might not be the easiest film to find in a physical format, as it doesn't seem to have ever made the leap from VHS or to either DVD or Blu-ray, which it definitively deserves and I hope it gets one day. If you love 80s horror, then check out my series of top 10 horror films from each year of this fantastic decade. I have done a video for each year from 1980 and up until 1986 so far, and hopefully you will be able to find some new films to watch from each of them. Pressing that like button lets me know that more obscure 80s horror reviews are wanted. Hope you enjoyed this video and that we will be back for more in the future here on Cinema Terror.